My name is Bruce Rieder, and I'm a member of this church. I've been reflecting lately, during this Trumpish weather we've been having, on the idea of dissonance, how I respond to it, and how it's impacted my identity. I first came to UUCA in March or so of 2009, when I'd just joined an army of those millions unemployed by the Great Recession. After 31 years of building a successful career, my headhunter said, "That's over. It'll be 10 years before what you do comes back. You need to find something else to do." I was cut to the quick. At that time, most of my identity was wrapped up in my job, and it felt, well, to borrow from Shrek, quite freakish to be in that middle of that cultural and cognitive dissonance. I had done everything right. This was not according to my plan. This was not supposed to happen. But you know what? It did. And there I was. So my husband, Peter, and I came to UUCA searching for a refuge, some comfort, and for me, some enlightenment about my identity issues. It was much cheaper than therapy. I came to Sunday services that seemed different every week and challenged me in different ways to rediscover pieces of my identity that I dropped along the way. I joined a discussion group that led into a covenant group, and we had adult conversation about subjects that never came up around the water cooler at work. I became aware of the incredible gift left to UUCA by the grace of the founders of this church. I even had the honor of becoming acquainted with a few of them. I feel awe and gratitude for these remarkable people who, during another period of cultural dissonance in our world after World War II, decided to just step up and give back. I've come to realize that the timeless values of our liberal religious tradition never go out of style. At UUCA, I found a community more fulfilling for me than I had found in other churches I'd attended. I came to appreciate what a truly privileged person I am, and to be grateful for that in all its inspiring, humbling, and sometimes shameful aspects. Peter and I made a financial pledge to this church as friends and explored generosity as a healing influence. After 2 years of dating UUCA as inquiring friends, we signed the book. I found a fulfilling second career in the federal service, but I also volunteered around the church to satisfy my need to be useful and to give something back. I began on the welcome desk and then on the annual giving team of stewardship. I give my money and my time to UUCA to honor the legacy of those who came before, to be part of a covenant with you, to be that beloved community that we all aspire to give back to the world that has given so very much to me, and to nurture my own identity. UUCA helps me stay in touch with what's really important and meaningful, even when the times are tough. UUCA is the gift I give myself. I told you I was riffing on dissonance, and maybe it's only my personal experience. The experience of a third grader, horrified of a world where a president could be murdered in a car. A young adult shaken by the realization that my life's path was not to be an entirely traditional one. An adult whose friends were dying prematurely due to no fault of their own, whose government was mocking and indifferent to their deaths. A middle-aged man cast to the curb. Each of these dissonances have felt different in its time, and each has shown me some strength I didn't know I had. Maybe some of you have had similar experiences. And so we come to February 2017. It seems the dissonance of our politics has taken all the oxygen for the last while, and again, it feels different. When I take the time to take that deep breath again, what will I do with that breath? UUCA is helping me find my strength this time. I'm the chair of the annual giving team. February is our traditional month to ask each member and friend to commit to a financial pledge to the church for next year. This is our time when we take somewhat of an inward turn to think about our identity as individuals and as a religious community. We take this month in the depth of winter to put our house in order because, quite frankly, we're of no use to anyone else or ourselves unless we do that work first. And make no mistake at all, as we reflect this month on our mission, and the resources we can marshal to make that mission happen. The world needs our light more than ever before. The light of these candles, the light of these clear story windows, our light. This year, we challenge you, all of you, to commit to keeping the light of our liberal religious tradition. We challenge you to keep the light that is the identity within you. We challenge you to keep the light of gratitude and generosity that build and maintain our beloved community. If you are visiting us today, please forgive us a few minutes of internal business. You are welcome to hear how the sausage is made here, and you can join us if you're so inclined. For members and friends who've been with us for some time, you know that our current challenge has been to adjust our budgeted income to our new, larger mortgage. We joyfully made significant physical additions and improvements to our campus over the last few years, and we need to pay for them. Our strategic plan done last year tells us that we need to meet our expenses tells us exactly what we need to meet our expenses for the next 5 years. It tells us we need a significant increase in pledge income to make it work. On our webpage is a question and answers piece that goes into more detail on the nuts and bolts, but that's the bottom line. A pledge is your prediction of the amount you can contribute for the year beginning July 1st, 2017, and extending to June 30th, 2018. 2018, our 70th anniversary year. So what's the right amount to pledge? There's lots of guidance on that also on those questions and answers on our webpage. We include a chart showing the distribution of current pledge amounts. For your information, last year's annual pledge was about $1,750 a year for the 718 pledges that we received. A pledge should be a meaningful amount that's right for you, based on your individual circumstances and on your thoughtful consideration of what this church means to you. You decide what that amount is. So please do visit our webpage, follow the link in this week's connections, or click on the Keeping the Light lantern on the main page of the UUCA website. You can even make your pledge online by clicking on the green Make Pledge Here button on our Keeping the Light page. Of course, as in the past, you can fill out one of these yellow cards. Many of you have gotten them in the mail already, or will get one early in the week, Monday or Tuesday. These cards are available here in the pews at church, and they'll be there all during February. You can drop off your card, you can drop it in the plate, you can drop it at our table in the fellowship hall after service, and we'll have folks at that table all through the month of February to answer questions. We'll keep you up to date on the progress toward our goal as the month progresses, both in fellowship hall and in connections. We've begun receiving pledges from members, and I'm pleased to report that 17 of the 21 pledges received before service thus far reflected an increase of 10% or more. This congregation has some very generous steward leaders, but we cannot rely on them alone to bridge this income gap. We need every member and friend to step up as stewards of the mission that we share. I challenge each of you to decide, what will you do to make sure that UUCA can answer the call of these challenging times in our nation and in our world? In a very real sense, we in this area, we're the privileged ones in this country. If we don't stand up for ourselves and to our own high expectations, who else is going to do that? How will you handle the dissonance of the time we find ourselves in? What will you do with that next breath as the oxygen comes back? Where will you find the strength this time?